Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing a review for Superman Bizzaro, issue 23.1, or issue 1 of Bizzaro. And this is a Villains Month issue, so I will show you the 3D cover. I actually got 3D covers for pretty much all the comics, besides Ventriloquist, which I got digitally, so I'm really glad I got the 3D covers. I'll try to show on the camera, but it's kind of hard. But I'll try showing that. But first I have a couple updates. First update is that we are doing all in-depth reviews for Villains Month on Dark Avenger Inc. So expect every comic to be reviewed for Villains Month. The two in-depth reviews I did for Dark Avenger Inc. this week are Flash Gorilla Grodd, issue 23.1, and Poison Ivy, issue 23.1. So if you want to go check out those reviews, definitely go to Dark Avenger Inc. Also, I have Comic Uno episode 12, which is the show where I review all the comics I read this week in one show, and there's a lot of exclusive comics because I've read a lot this week. I read 17 comics. Don't ask me how I did that all, and I still have reviews on Thursday. I don't even know how I did it, but here are the exclusive comics. Superior Foes of Spider-Man, issue 3. Green Arrow, Count Vertigo, issue 23.1. Trillium, issue 2. Venom, issue 40. And of course, Detective Comics Poison Ivy and The Flash Gorilla Grodd. So again, these have in-depth reviews also. But a lot of exclusive comics for Comic Uno episode 12. And of course, a countdown version of all the comics I read this week in one show. But let's talk about Superman Bizzaro issue 1. Here's the 3D-ness. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. I'll try to show you guys the 3D-ness. It works a little. I made it work a little. In the other videos, I made a mistake of doing this, but it actually does the 3D over here. I gotta say, 3D covers actually look really 3D. I recommend you at least get it for your favorite superheroes. I really enjoyed it. It's $1 extra. If you have a chance to get the 3D covers, definitely try to get at least one. They're pretty cool. But let's talk about the regular cover if you didn't get 3D. I gotta say, Bizzaro looks really weird. His head is really big. So not big fan of the cover, but the 3D cover looks pretty cool. But the regular cover is a little sketchy with his big giant head. He looks a little bit like Frankenstein. Maybe that was the point. But let's talk about this issue. What happened? Honestly, it's a big Lex Luthor issue. Surprised, yeah, and we learned who Bizzaro is in the New 52. He's not the Bizzaro we knew in pre-New 52. This is actually before the whole Superboy tales, because Lex Luthor tries to make a clone. Just like Superboy, he actually did a good clone, but in this he makes a mishap clone, and in the end, he explodes. So it doesn't actually work. He experiments using Superman's DNA on this kid or a young adult, and it doesn't work. He turns into Bizzaro. Is he alive? Maybe. Or maybe the creation he's trying to make is Bizzaro. I don't know, but Bizzaro does explode in this issue. If that was Bizzaro, that was a little confusing. But honestly, this was one of the better issues for Villains Month. I think there's a lot of hit and misses this week for Villains Month. Some worked pretty good, some you didn't have to read. Definitely a lot of hit and misses, which I think we all could expect with Villains Month. Maybe we're all too excited and hyped up for it, but I thought this was a very solid issue. If you're a humongous Bizzaro fan, you might be disappointed with this. Plus, it's not Bizzaro. For me, I'm a big Lex Luthor fan. He's one of my favorite supervillains, so I didn't mind not it being Bizzaro. And maybe we'll get a better Bizzaro story and like a bigger Bizzaro in the future, because this is supposed to continue in Forever Evil. So maybe we'll actually get the real Bizzaro, and this is kind of like a mishap Bizzaro. But yeah, it's not like the Bizzaro that we know where it's backwards Superman. I mean, it did have those effects in this issue that he gets weaker through the sun, and kryptonite makes him stronger. So you had those aspects, but he didn't talk backwards, and he didn't think when things are pretty that they're ugly, that classic humor of Bizzaro, kind of like the Deadpool humor of Bizzaro. You don't get that here, which is kind of disappointing because I think that's what a lot of people are expecting. But for me, since I'm not a humongous Bizzaro fan, I like him, but I'm not a humongous fan, and there's a lot of different ways to approach Bizzaro. I thought it was a solid issue because it was a fluent story. It told a good story. It was different. It felt New 52-like. It actually meant to be told. It progresses a story, especially for Superboy and Superman, and Lex Luthor. So I thought this was actually a pretty solid issue for Villains Month. Again, Bizzaro fans might be really disappointed, but since I'm not a humongous Bizzaro fan, I was happy with this story. And also the art was pretty good. It's kind of the style of Superboy. And one thing I am going to say, sometimes the title actually doesn't connect with the character that is on on the cover. So if you're reading like, let's say Batman and Robin, it doesn't mean Two-Face is part of Batman and Robin. It might not actually be anything about Batman and Robin. But with Superman, it actually has to do with Superman. Maybe a little bit more about Superboy. It seems like in that direction it's going at least. But at least it's a Superman type title. So watch out for that. I would buy it just for your villain. Don't buy it because you're reading that title, because some of them are completely reversed. But yeah, also I like the kind of cartoony art of it. Again, it reminds me a lot of the Superboy art, which it works for that series. I think it worked here also because of the story it's trying to tell. But yeah, I say pick it up. I give it 4 stars. I thought, honestly, this was one of the better Villain Month titles that came out this week. Hope you guys enjoyed. This is Comic Uno, and guys, don't forget to follow me on Twitter for Comic Uno and the rant situations, and don't forget to like me on Facebook. See you guys.